on va passer maintenant donc à l'échange avec nos partenaires, donc comme à la Tech, EasyBI et Tempo. Vous pouvez poser vos questions sur le chat. On a déjà reçu quelques questions à l'avance également, donc on va commencer par ces questions-là. So Simon, Robert, Ariel, you can activate your camera, and thank you for joining us again. Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Fine.
Thank you, guys.
So we will begin. I will let you introduce yourself first, and maybe also a short word about your company. So Simon, I propose that you begin with this.
You bet. Thanks very much. And again, thanks for having me. And hello from Vancouver, Canada. It's a little bit earlier here where we are, but my name is Simon Gatto. I'm the Chief Operations Officer here at Kamala Tech. Kamala Tech is one of Atlassian's Gold Marketplace partners. We're one of the first marketplace partners back when they were app vendors. We've been creating apps for the Atlassian stack for about 13 years now. We specialize in document management, but we do have apps in Confluence and Jira. We're also proud to be one of the Atlassian Pledge 1% companies. So part of their Pledge 1% initiative as well. So I'm based in Vancouver, but the company is actually spread across. Some of our team is in British Columbia, and a bunch of our development team is actually based in Bilbao in Spain. So yeah, so we focus entirely on apps for the Atlassian ecosystem. And we'll talk a little bit more about that during the roundtable.
Fine, thank you very much. So nice company with a lot of experience with Atlassian, as you said. Now, Robert, could you introduce EasyBI and yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Robert. I'm from EasyBI customer support for more than 2.5 years now. And first of all, congrats to Belgium for the strong start in the European Football Championship. And second, a short introduction on EasyBI. It's a powerful business intelligence app for Jira and Confluence. And you can build custom reports, dashboards, visualize, analyze, explore, and discover hidden insights from your Jira and Confluence data. And you can identify risks, challenges, opportunities, and trends, and share your reports in Jira dashboards or Confluence pages, external websites, and web apps. And support for many popular test management, asset management, and time management apps. Also for external data sources like SQL databases, REST APIs, Google and Excel spreadsheets, and more. Available on server, data center, and cloud.
Fine, thank you. So also a good plugin to empower your reporting capabilities. And finally, Ariel, could you introduce yourself and present a little bit Tempo?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Ariel, and I work as a migration support specialist at Tempo. Tempo creates embedded solutions that enable organizations to track, plan, manage, and understand their time. Tempo has been in operation for more than 15 years now, and we're one of the top vendors on the Atlassian marketplace, with more than 20,000 customers, large and small, and across all types of industries, such as Oracle, Sony, and Disney. If you're not too familiar with the Tempo products, we offer our products in Jira Cloud, Server, and the Data Center. On Server and Data Center, we have Tempo Timesheets, which is the #1 time tracking app on the Atlassian marketplace. We have Tempo Planner, workforce optimization app, and Tempo Budgets, an extensive financial tracking app. And on cloud, we do have Tempo Timesheets and Planner, and we provide Cost Tracker for Tempo Timesheets, which is a very lean and efficient way to visualize your financial KPIs.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, also a widely used app from Tempo. So let's begin with the topic of today. So migration to cloud and data center. And I will start with the first question we have here. Regarding the migration to the cloud, how do you see the future? Could you explain your vision about this move? Simon, could you begin with this first question? Sorry, you are muted, Simon.
Sorry. Thanks.
Thank you.
For sure, and I think the theme of this event is pretty clear. I actually started with Comalatech a little over 6 years ago now, and even back then, Atlassian was already positioning themselves as a cloud-first company. Obviously, they're using Connect, which was their platform for cloud apps. Of course, back then the technology wasn't quite where it was today, and so they were still in the process of getting their cloud platform ready. And of course, there was lots of people that were heavily invested in server. However, over the last 6 years, of course, there's been a fairly major transition to push even further into cloud. So again, we've watched this kind of transition with our clients. We specialize, as I mentioned, in document management, and a lot of our clients are fairly heavily regulated as far as FDA and ISO for the documentation. So these are companies that really have relied on their on-premise solution just because of security and things like that. But these companies are looking now at cloud as a potential solution, because eventually cloud is the future, and eventually everybody is going to be pushing that way. So what we're finding now, even the companies that had originally thought, well, we'll have to stay on server or potentially data center just because we won't be able to move to cloud. Obviously, the technology is catching up. Feature parity is getting there. And Atlassian is going to great lengths to address issues such as data residency and security. So even companies that a year or two ago thought we won't be able to move to cloud, there's just no way. They're really seriously looking at it as a possible option, which is great. So again, I always tell people now that I speak with, it's not really a matter of if, it's more a matter of when. And I think over the next few years, it's going to be pretty telling. As Atlassian, obviously, they've made a fairly bold move with their server announcements last year. But again, I don't think anyone was surprised, because it's been something they've been moving towards for years now. So it's kind of exciting time to see things changing so rapidly.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. So as you said, the plans and the trends are pretty clear for everyone, and yeah, you are joining this trend as an Atlassian partner. Robert, could you give us some words about this for EasyBI? What's your position actually with the cloud solutions and data center also?
As you already and Simon said, the trend is clear, and there are a lot of explanations for this trend, moving everything or most things to the cloud. And the change of the cost models and reducing the software administration tasks are the most popular motivations. And while there are and probably still will be industries that will shy away from the cloud for various reasons, be it security or residency, but the ease of setting up and starting using cloud apps is an inviting factor for existing and new users. And a very significant step from Atlassian announcing the stop of sales for new Jira Server licenses, and also marking the end of the sales for server apps. There are several more hints indicating the future with Atlassian and also the software industry as a whole. It's moving to the cloud. And as a marketplace vendor, EasyBI has to be ready, offering the same or even better experience on cloud, easy to move or adoption of the cloud apps.
Okay, thank you. And yes, as we will have the occasion to discuss, it's also a lot of opportunities, of challenges, of course, but mainly opportunities that we have here with those new technologies and this new way of working and integrating altogether. And then, Ariel, do you have something to add regarding your vision of Tempo about the future of the Atlassian solutions and, of course, the future of your apps?
Sure. So Atlassian's vision seemed to focus mainly on cloud and slowly move everyone to the cloud platform. Of course, right now, from their side, there are gaps, but in the future, this will undeniably be removed. In the short term, things like data residency, migration paths, and functionality gaps, this will be closed. For cloud to work, these low-hanging fruits need to be addressed, and they are. Once these are done, I think we'll see even bigger migrations to the cloud. We're starting to see more and more acceptance of customers to the cloud, especially in the European countries. So once these pre-existing blockers are gone, it will make things easy.
Yeah. Yes. So the evolution, of course, of the solutions of Atlassian solutions and the apps are really important. And you said there are some steps and some big topics to address, like security, data residency, the functionality gap that may exist. And as Hermance explained, sometimes we do not have the same functionalities, but there is a way to answer the needs that is totally good and that fits really with the way of working of customers. Simply that it's not exactly the same functionality, and that's something that companies have to try, have to test, have to consider also. Regarding this, the next question is about the evolution of your apps. So this time, maybe Robert, you can begin. Could you give us some insights about your roadmap regarding cloud and data center releases? What are the main elements of your roadmap? What are some key functionalities maybe that you will propose in the future?
EasyBI might be notorious regarding sharing its roadmaps. We generally try to under-promise and over-deliver. Thus, I will only share some features we are currently working and plan to add in the upcoming releases. Among some bug fixes and improvements, the major features we are working on are the non-empty page selection that only returns valid options and dimension pages, not all the options. It could depend on the page dimensions you have set up. And also in recent releases, EasyBI added conditional formatting for table reports and conditional color formatting for charts is the next step. We also plan to revamp the other source data column mapping screen and options, adding count measures and options to add custom JavaScript code. Should be easier with that. And last but not least, to improve custom field advanced settings. That would be an option to specify advanced parameters for custom fields from the import options instead of the EasyBI advanced settings. And those are some features that are platform independent. And regarding cloud, we future plan to continuously work on scaling up the environment and continuously improve the security.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so quite a lot of things on your plans, and maybe if people want to know about your roadmap, is there somewhere they can have a look at, or do they have to register to some newsletters of you? Or
no, actually, we don't have a public backlog or roadmap. It's closed down, but we take into account customer votes if they write to our support email, and say they're not happy with something, we add their vote to existing tickets or register a new one.
Yeah, sure.
And let them know afterwards it has been implemented.
Sure. Yes, I can confirm this. We already have had some some feedbacks, and you gave us your feedback and worked on what has been mentioned by the customers. So they were quite happy about that. So thank you. And Ariel, do you have some do you have some details about your roadmap? You already gave the big idea of how you will work on this, on your solutions. Maybe some other elements that you could add to this?
Sure. So there are three main elements to look towards for server to cloud migration at the moment. We've been working on adding numerous elements to make the migration journey as easy as possible to the partners and clients. Some of which we're happy to mention are done or completely underway. For starters, we released new REST APIs to assist in the manual migration of Tempo data from server to the cloud. These include APIs for holiday schemes, work attributes, and such. In other words, this means that there are more Tempo variables that can quickly be migrated over to another instance. Of course, all these elements are highlighted in our documentation. Another thing that Tempo is working on is the data residency in Europe. We're currently in the testing phase, and once we're confident with the results, we'll be pushing forward with that. One thing to note is that we're basically mirroring Atlassian's data residency program, which means that our timing is very likely to match theirs. So when they announce that they officially have data residency in Europe, we'll basically either already have ours or be officially launching it as well. And thirdly, the Jira Cloud Migration Assistant app. Atlassian is building an automated migration path for apps like Tempo, and we are part of the program and are working very closely with Atlassian to allow you to migrate all Tempo data except for configurations. This will include custom fields, themes, accounts, work attributes, plans, approvals. This means that it will greatly simplify the migration journey and accelerate the process as well. To summarize, what we're looking at the next is getting the App Migration Assistant EAP participation out as soon as possible, then prepare for open beta in August, and then general availability for later in the year.
Nice, really nice. So yeah, migration will be much easier really soon. So that's good to know for everyone, because yes, as we already spoke about, there are quite a lot of interest and quite a lot of reasons to move to either cloud or data center that provide new functionalities and a lot of value for the companies. So this is good to know that migration will be really easier also regarding the Tempo applications. Simon, what can you say to us? What can you tell us about your roadmap at Comalatech?
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds probably similar to a lot of the other marketplace partners out there, Tempo and EasyBI. Obviously, for us, I think because we had such a long history on server, our primary app that most of our customers know us by is our Kamala document management tool. It used to be Kamala Workflows, probably the most well-known. Because it was around for so long, it was actually a fairly rich and complex tool. So obviously, our biggest focus on the cloud side, one of the big focuses, of course, is to try to bring a similar experience for our server customers to cloud. So obviously, it's feature parity was a big thing, just because there were limitations previously with cloud APIs. Thankfully, we've been actually able to bring the majority of functionality to cloud through what's available to us now. So we're still working on some of them. There's still some more advanced features, and of course, these are the ones for some of the larger, more sophisticated clients that they want some of this functionality. So feature parity, of course, is something we continue to work on. So not necessarily brand new things in cloud, but how we actually do them in cloud, we are looking at as well. I think Robert mentioned in a lot of cases, we don't want to just necessarily replicate exactly the way it was in server, but possibly even make it a better experience in cloud, because we have new options. But migration, of course, is a big focus. Obviously, it's nice to have lots of feature parity, but you really need to be able to get your clients from server or data center into cloud. So we're focusing a lot on migration. As Aaron mentioned, we're working with Atlassian as well to create as seamless a migration as possible, making sure we really identify what information and what data is available to come across when you are moving the server, so that our customers are aware of what they're going to be able to bring with them. If there's anything they'll have to redo manually or stuff that might not come across, that kind of thing. So definitely on the cloud side, we're focusing a lot there. But we do, as I mentioned before, because of the industries that we're working in, pharma, fintech, some of these companies that are not quite ready yet, and they've actually moved to data center or are already on data center, we're still investing quite heavily with in that platform as well. Because of course, this is going to be, it's going to be around for a while. It will still be a choice for some of our customers for at least the next few years. So we want to make sure that they're still seeing sort of new enterprise level type features, making sure obviously data center stability and availability is big for them. So just ensuring that those apps continue to perform well, continue to have new functionality that we think makes sense for those customers. So yeah, so we're sort of splitting ourselves between cloud and data center, but obviously, of course, cloud is shifting more and more to the forefront.
Okay, fine, nice. Yeah, I will point out one good thing, because people always worry about, as you said, feature parity. So making sure that the needs can be answered also in new solutions, maybe cloud or data center. And so that's good to hear that you are all working on this. You are all busy with this. We also take care of that, and Atlassian also. So that's something that is really moving on, and we are pretty confident that soon the features and the needs could be covered far enough with cloud or data center as it is with current server solutions. Then, from your experience, and Ariel, I will ask you the question first this time. From your experience, what are the focal points when migrating to the cloud? What should people pay attention to make a good migration?
While we do have a migration path that are rather straightforward, the migration process of today is currently not perfect. And if you are doing the migration yourself, you can run into problems. To be honest, the main problem that we see comes from customers that have not fully read the documentation before migrating, meaning that they will often get questions on simple steps addressed in the documentation. We also heavily suggest that you have a test instance to try out the migration first. Sometimes companies do the migration without that and then get shocked to see that certain things don't work or are not the same on cloud. These differences in functionalities or missing elements are also highlighted in the documentation that we have. The current method sometimes has problems with automatic data synchronization, but this is a small step and is easy to solve from the Tempo side. Just make sure that you are aware it is a possibility and that it can be solved by reaching out to our support team, where we will manually sync the data. There can also have some issues of being unable to reinstall Tempo timesheets after the Jira backup restore. This is very easily solved, once again, by reaching out to our support team, just to make sure they give you back the installation rights. The bigger problem will mostly stem from third-party integrations or custom code that you might have with Tempo. This might break or not port properly into cloud or data center. As a result, you might require a lot of effort to just to have them work on cloud or data center again. Finally, one of the bigger challenges is figuring out whether some elements are worth the time to migrate versus adding them manually. In addition, with the current process for server to cloud, there will be steps you will need to manually do, like adding the Tempo Teams part. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yes, documentation is there, so it's there to be used. It's really important, and I think it's a key message also from Atlassian and from all the partners. there are a lot of content. There is a lot of documentation of steps that is there that's provided to help you in this migration path. And of course, partners are always there to help you for this migration. So if you are working with NSI, you know that we are there to help you, but there is also, you can rely on the support of Atlassian, of Tempo, of Comalatech in EasyBI to make this process as smooth and as fast as possible. So this is really, really important to notice. Simon, do you have some more specific elements regarding the migration for Comalatech?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're going to hear a common theme probably with the different vendors, because again, we have a very similar focus on a lot of this. I think previously in the years past, there was definitely a big focus on, as I mentioned before, the feature parity. Oh, is it going to work the same way? Is it going to give me the same features? I think in the last few years, as we've gotten closer and closer to providing a similar experience feature-wise, now people really are kind of looking at, all right, it does what I want it to do. But what's the migration path? What does it look like? Things like data residency, security, things like that. So they're actually starting to really look closely at not so much like, does it do what I want? Even in some cases, it does most of what I want. So I still want to do it to cloud, but how am I going to get there? So as Ariel mentioned, we are working very closely with Atlassian. Ultimately, we'd love a one-click button to just say, yep, just bring all your stuff across and everything's going to work just perfectly. But of course, they're two disparate databases. They work differently, how they're stored differently. Obviously, the security in cloud is much different than server. So it's definitely right now it's a manual process. And of course, we recommend, at least, in the initial one, Atlassian's providing a lot of backup and a lot of support to clients that want to move. The partners or the marketplace vendors, of course, are providing support. And again, Comalatech, we really leverage our relationships with our partners like NSI. We always recommend, don't just go in and try to do this yourself, because it's probably going to break. Get some help. We make sure we have documentation available so it's very clear they understand what to expect. But it's always better to have some help. You're gonna, definitely get that extra bit, whether it's through Atlassian or directly through the marketplace vendor or through a partner or all three. It's really, we're recommending it. So for sure, I think that's at the forefront of everyone's mind. They've installed the app, they've played with it, they love it, they want to move, and now it's like, all right, now how do we get there? So that's that migration path is really key, and I think all of the vendors right now are focusing on that this year. That's like a huge, all the guys that we work with, of course, we work with lots of different app vendors in the marketplace, and everyone says the same thing. Yep, we're trying to get that migration working really smoothly, so that experience is good when they move to cloud and there aren't too many things missing. So you'll hear that from a lot of the vendors. So that's definitely the big one.
Yes, sure. In that type of project, migration project, external support and experience is really, really important, and it's nice that you mentioned it. And also that was mentioned by two of you. Regardless the documentation, there is this people are there to help. So partners, Atlassian, and so on. And the first steps are always to make an assessment of the situation and to make some comparison about which needs are covered currently, what do you expect later on, and make sure that you have no big surprise when you switch, because feature won't be exactly the same, and that's normal, because those are two different products, but that may answer the same needs. And those are two different products, taking into account also that we are going to the next generation of products. So we are moving for better functionalities and to take in charge, to cover the needs in a better way, because solutions are always evolving thanks to the feedback of customers, thanks to the experience, thanks to the context. Sorry. So maybe just one word of Robert, and then I see we have a question, so I will ask it just after. So Robert, some other elements to point out for EasyBI for migration?
I think Ariel explained it really well, reading the documentation and first migrating the test environment. And so both of them set the expectations for what you will get, and no surprises then.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So the question here from Sebastian is, does it exist some functionalities in your extensions that are exclusive to the cloud version? So do you have in your apps some functionalities that you will find only in cloud and not in server, obviously, and not in data center, maybe? Simon, maybe?
I can say for Comalatech, again, just because of the long history of our server, we don't have specifically, at least at this point. Of course, we're looking ahead to the future where we can add new functionality, and of course, we're looking at Forge and things like that. So, but at least for this year, it really is trying to get that experience as close as possible. But one approach that we are taking that is a bit different in cloud is we realized with our main server product, document management too, over the years, it kind of kept growing, got fairly complex and more expensive. What we decided to do with cloud, it's kind of given us an opportunity to unpack some of the functionality. So we've decided with the cloud, we were going to take a bit of an approach where certain functionalities we're actually going to have as companion apps to the main one. So if you don't need a specific feature, you don't have to pay for it necessarily. So we'll have certain things like read confirmations, which is an important one for us. We decided to create these separately, so that way we can keep the costs of the main product and sort of the overall complexity a little bit more condensed. And if there's specific functionality that you want, whereas with server and data center, it's kind of all in the one big app. We're allowing our customers to kind of pick and choose. Again, that's kind of a more common cloud platform approach, I think. So kind of pick the pieces that you want. That's something we're going to carry forward with. So not necessarily new or different functionality, but how we're making it available to our customers in cloud will give them a bit more flexibility to pick and choose sort of the features that they really need, and just pay for the stuff that they want. So a little bit different approach.
Nice. Okay. Yes. So designed and packed a little bit differently, but not. Yeah, it's not the goal in itself to have different functionalities in cloud or data center. Robert, Ariel.
So for Tempo, I believe that the main difference would be on budgets versus cost tracker, because they are mainly focused on the same LOB, but they are different products. So there are some functionalities that exist in budgets that do not exist in cost tracker, and vice versa. But if you have your process very well sketched out, you can do the migration manually, and the benefits will be the same.
Okay, good to know. So yes, really different products. So this then, of course, you will have differences in the functionalities in terms of functionalities between cost tracker and Tempo budget. For those who know those two products, and if you don't, you can have a look at it. And Robert, regarding EasyBI, do you have some differences in regarding cloud and data center? Are there some exclusive functionalities? And maybe for all of you, if you have also a link that can be shared with some kind of comparative between the different solutions, that's something that we can share after this session. So Robert?
EasyBI mainly tries to deliver the same product across all platforms, but there are, of course, some differences because of the way we can get the data in server data center compared to cloud. And for now, there are more like feature gaps between server and cloud, that the cloud has less integrations with some other vendor apps, and but there are some like you said, features that are not available on server, because how we get the data from Jira Cloud via REST APIs. You can get more nifty and get your hands dirty with the JavaScript calculated custom fields. If that's what you're looking for, you get more data from there. And also maybe another feature for some, it's an advantage, for some not, is less maintenance and administrative work. You don't have to set up or maintain a separate database or memory management, etc.
Okay, okay, fine. So no exclusive functionalities globally for the cloud, but of course some differences as we mentioned. Yeah, and again, if there are some links, then we can provide it to all the attendees, but we will take care of this after this session then. Okay, fine. Thank you for the question. Then I will switch to the next question we have here. One moment. And the next question is, we have some specific questions regarding EasyBI. So here the question was, if I migrate to cloud or data center, will all reports, including calculated measures, custom field, dashboards, and sources, will it still be compatible? Meaning nothing needs to be changed. Syntax does not change for calculated measures, for instance, and so on.
I can't promise that nothing will change or be the same, but generally, yes, it will be the same. But for a more detailed answer, EasyBI imports data in server and data center differently from the cloud. In server and data center, we have Java APIs, REST APIs, and if needed, the Jira database for retrieving the data. In cloud, it's only REST APIs. So, but the main idea is EasyBI imports the information in a separate database. So it allows us to form the same data model disregarding the platform, and give the same experience overall. So the dimensions, the system fields, measures, they're all the same, and the MDX syntax that it uses in server, data center, and cloud is consistent. So it migrates the configuration, accounts, account users, reports, report definitions, dashboards, and only what can change is some feature gaps regarding the app integrations, or some custom configured custom fields that can't or must have some additional configuration to import them in EasyBI.
Yeah, okay. So generally, it could work straightforward, but of course, as often, the best is to make an assessment and to test first, of course. And I think, yeah, it's quite the same for all the apps. And then one last specific questions we have here. So if I want to migrate part of the reports to the clouds through the export-import functionality via report definition, is it compatible between server and clouds?
Partially, I answered in the previous question. The syntax is the same, so reports can be copied, the report definitions can be copied from server to cloud. As for example, we have our demo account, and you can copy the report or dashboard definitions from there and use in server or data center, and also in cloud. The main difference is the custom fields and app integrations that you have to look out for.
Okay. Okay, nice. So yeah, quite the same as previously. It should be okay with most of the reports, but for some there may be some adjustments. Then one question that is more focused regarding the communications and the APIs with cloud and data center versions. Will it still be possible to communicate with external sources, meaning REST APIs or other applications, business applications, and so on? Simon, could you begin with this question?
Yeah, you bet. So for the data center side, actually the good news there is the data center apps are exactly the same as our server apps. So all the integration that we do have already. So we actually do have a number of integrations that we've already built, particularly with some of the other vendors that we work with, K15T, for example. Their scroll products are very complementary to ours. Some of the theming tools, so we have those built already in server, and of course those carry directly across to data center. As far as the cloud goes, this is a bit more of a challenge. One of the things that we're running into, and perhaps Ariel and Robert, they may have had the same problems, or if not, maybe they can tell us how to solve them. But the way that the security on cloud obviously is much more robust as far as communication between apps. So they use unique app keys, and we're actually finding this even with our own apps. They have different app keys. Individual apps cannot share data across different apps because, of course, for security reasons, you don't want them being able to access data that's from some other source. So that's a challenge that we have run into. But again, we are working with Atlassian because they know that there are a lot of apps, not just Kamala techs, out there that do take advantage of being able to integrate directly with some of the other ones. And these create some really nice solutions for Atlassian's customers. So they're really keen on trying to find some solutions to that. So right now, it's definitely more limited. It's not as easy for the vendors to create this type of integration, but I'm pretty confident that Atlassian's going to find some ways to make that happen again, because they've recognized it as such a valuable piece and so valuable to the marketplace partners. So right now, it's still sort of TBD, but I think it's just a matter of when Atlassian will be able to give us some resources to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So server data center is quite the same then for the integrations. Oh, sorry for the slides. But of course, with the cloud, it's something a little bit different then, and communications cannot be exactly the same in the same way. Ariel, I guess it will be probably the same kind of answer, but do you have other elements regarding these communications with other applications or through REST APIs?
As Simon said, data center for us is also currently the same as server, so there shouldn't be any issues there. This is also why currently we have bigger companies that are migrating to data center instead of the cloud. So we're happy to say that for them it should be business as usual. As for integrations with cloud, there are some differences. For the Atlassian vendors outside of the bigger apps. There can be some vendors that are still developing their apps, so there are sometimes no one-to-one equivalent. Also, because there are some slight differences between Jira Cloud and server, it also implies that some apps cannot be an exact copy of their server equivalent. So this all means that while there can be integrations between Tempo and other vendors, there might be some elements that will have some slight differences or will be coming in the near future. But if I'm not mistaken, our side, we actually published more REST API endpoints on cloud because of the migrations. So I think that should help the integrations as well. Yeah.
Okay, nice, thanks. And then Robert, regarding the communications with other applications and EasyBI.
We generally look for, like I could say the other way, we look to communicate with other apps and not other apps with us. So our rests are, we don't provide anything like that. We mainly look for other app vendors to have in cloud, especially REST API endpoints, so we can get the data and build integrations with them. And just like colleagues said previously, the server and data center apps are basically the same. So in cloud, there are still some, we mostly wait for and communicate with other app vendors to get data from them and ensure the same feature parity compared to server to cloud.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's one of the challenges, and the next question then is about the challenges that you are facing with this migration to the cloud. So on your point of view as an application developer and vendor, what are the challenges that you have currently? So Robert, you can go on and speak about this.
EasyBI usage growth happens continuously, especially in cloud. We can feel it the most, and there are ongoing efforts to scale up the application. So scaling and performance is one of the challenges, because we import the data in our separate database. So in cloud we host the database, so that also poses some challenges. And the cloud, EasyBI Cloud, is we believe it's the biggest EasyBI instance in the world. So there are a lot of servers serving report executions, request processing, and databases. So the main challenge is to get it working seamlessly and consistently. So nowadays, computing resources are a commodity, and you can increase them almost instantly. While it could seem an intuitive way to scale, it actually is true only to a certain point. We recently found that increasing memory can make the performance even worse, because the garbage collection of large Java virtual machines can make the system become irresponsive. So we needed a significant effort to change the architecture and distribute the report executions across several child processes, similarly like we can do in data center. And also security is a great concern, and we have multiple security and privacy policies, and how we store and transit the data with encryption, and also participation in 2 bug bounty programs, so we can be at top and be first to know if there are some vulnerabilities. And also the before mentioned feature gaps, because of the differences how we can get data between the 2 platforms, on-premise and cloud. And yeah, those are the 3 main we are continuously working on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's worth mentioning. That here again, the Atlassian ecosystem is a real ecosystem with Atlassian and the different partners that are also working together, yes, to overcome all those challenges, because you are going through as app vendors through quite the same questions, quite the same challenges and processes in some different ways, with of course your own apps and functionalities, but globally there are some elements that we can consider together and overcome together. So that's nice to mention. Then Ariel, about some changes that you see at Tempo currently for this migration.
Outside of clients not reading the documentation and underestimating the migration, I think that our biggest challenge as a company regarding migration is to ensure that we are aligned with what Atlassian is trying to do. This means constant communication on our part to let them know about possible blockers, adherence to their various programs, and so on. Atlassian is the captain of the ship, and they decide where the ship goes, and it's up to us to make sure that the journey is as smooth as possible.
Okay. Nice. All right, and then Simon, your challenges at Comalatech.
Yeah, I think we've been talking about a lot of those actually through the conversation, but it's good time to summarize. I think just in general. So some of the things obviously are one of our big initial challenges, which still continues to be a challenge, but we're getting closer, is really that parity between your experience in server and data center versus cloud. We're narrowing that gap now, which is great. But again, now the other challenges for us are, of course, things like customers are looking at where is their data going to be stored, what security measures are in place that we're doing, and then of course that big piece, the migration, which of course is the key. So I think those are probably, if I had to pick our three biggest challenges, those are definitely them, because that's what's going to help us make sure we can get as many of our clients over to cloud by having those three things in place. So that's really what the big focus is right now. But no, I think makes a good point. Atlassian is setting the tone, obviously, and how this works, and there's lots of challenges. But the good part is too, obviously, it's mutually beneficial because our clients are also their clients. So they're doing a lot of work now to try and make sure that the vendors have the resources that they need and the tools, and even the changes to the apps, which has been really great. So this has been it's been a team effort. So it'll happen faster because everyone's trying to work towards the same goal.
Sure. Great. Yes, and that's what we say. I will say it in French because I don't get it and don't have it in English. But in Belgium, la devise, l'union fait la force. So we are stronger together, and that's also the case here. Then two last questions, and I will have to leave some time to Fabrice for the conclusion of this event. One question, then three, yeah, and of course stay until the end. Also because Fabrice has good information for you, but also a quiz where you can win some consultancy. So. The two last questions, we will begin with one question about Forge. So if you can give me your positioning about the Forge announcement that Hermance just mentioned earlier. And after that, we will speak about a big topic here in Europe and specifically in Belgium and Luxembourg about the GDPR and the data residency. But let's first begin with your position with the Forge proposition of Atlassian. So here, sorry, again the slides that are moving. So here maybe Ariel, you can begin with this one.
Sure. So our as I said, our current step is we're starting with the data residency development, and then we'll go from there. But Forge's current state makes it hard for us to put the effort and go there. The platform isn't mature enough, so I don't believe that there is going to be a massive step in the short term. But we might take a look into it a little bit more in the future. Yeah.
Okay. So it seems good to you, but of course it's too early right now to go into Forge. Simon, what's your opinion about Forge?
Yeah, definitely. Ariel's correct. I mean, there's definitely work needs to be done as far as the capabilities of Forge. But yeah, I mean, we kind of dove in. Our development team was such that we kind of jumped in earlier on just to start to try to play with the platform as much as we could, and start to develop some of our apps in Forge, or start working on if we could replicate them in Forge. So we're working on that now. But we're excited about the Forge announcement. As far as what I think the ultimate intent with Atlassian is to do, because obviously when we talked a little bit before, some of the big concerns or some of the biggest concerns, particularly in Europe with GDPR, is around the data residency and the security. So Atlassian's goal, as far as we can understand, with Forge is really to create a platform that gives the marketplace partners a way to provide that data residency and security without having to rebuild it themselves. If every different marketplace partner had to build their own data residency, had to build their own security, it would be very difficult. It would be different bits and pieces all over the place. So Atlassian basically said, we'll create a platform that's going to build those pieces into it, to allow you guys to build on this so that you have that baked into your apps, which I think is a fantastic idea. So yes, it's still, there's work to be done. It's still really new. But I think ultimately the goal and the reason behind that makes a ton of sense. And eventually all of the apps will move over from Connect. I predict, I'm not going to give a date, but eventually, Connect will disappear and it will become Forge in a matter of time, for exactly those reasons. The marketplace partners are going to need that infrastructure, and not all of them will be able to build it themselves. So they'll need that. So we're excited to see how it grows for sure. And we're just kind of working our way through it. And as they come out with new functionality, new features, and a lot of the vendors, I think, are working directly with them as they continue to add to it. So the Atlassian's trying to figure out what stuff do we need to do now? What's the most important things that we need to do to make Forge work? And then actually start introducing it into the marketplace. I think just as of May 25th, the partners could actually post paid for Forge apps in the marketplace. So you're going to start seeing those popping up slowly over the next little while.
Okay, nice, good. And Robert, do you have any plans regarding Forge? Right now, it's quite new announcement, of course. So.
Yeah, we share the same opinion as stated before by Ariel and Simon. In the short term, we don't have any plans for Forge, as it doesn't yet support the analytics technologies we need. But however, yeah, we are excited to see how it evolves, and maybe we can later on tap into some of the advantages it can provide in identifying, for example, identifying data that has been changed in Jira issues and import it more frequently and efficiently. Okay,
fine. So yes, it's a good future step for all the Atlassian ecosystem, and so for the users and customers. And finally, one quick word about GDPR. So could you tell us regarding your cloud solutions, then your cloud apps, how you will manage the user data and where they will be stored? So Robert, you can begin with this first question.
EasyBI manages a lot of data, and we performed a GDPR compliance assessment and updated our privacy policies accordingly. And in cloud, EasyBI takes care of the data imported from Jira and Confluence, and stores it in a data center located in the European Union, in Belgium, actually. And we monitor the Atlassian solution for data residency to offer customers the desired data residency when this option will be available for cloud apps. So for probably North America first, and then we'll see how it evolves further.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. And then Simon, about the way you store the data currently for Comalatech.
Yeah, so again, our primary app, the document management tool, the good thing is I guess makes it a bit easier for us because we don't actually store any of the customer data ourselves. We use custom content types, so it's actually all being stored within the Atlassian, the Confluence database. So we kind of we don't have to worry as much ourselves because we're not storing any of it. It makes it a little bit easier for our customers because, of course, they ask for that now. Now in the future, will that change at all? It might, just depending on how the product advances, but for the time being, all of it's stored in the Confluence database, so we're not having to actually manipulate it or manage it or store it ourselves. So makes it a little bit easier, a little bit less stressful for the customers.
Okay, great. So yes, really then aligned with Atlassian. And finally, Ariel, you can conclude with this last question. I see there is also a question in the chat, but we won't have time to answer it, but we will get back to you, of course, to give you the answer to this question. So about the way you store data, Ariel, currently?
Sure. Sorry. So our Tempo servers on cloud are in the US with AWS right now, with all the required certifications to make sure that the data is secure. We are currently testing data residency in the EU, Frankfurt, with AWS as well. Data residency in Europe is one of the low-hanging fruits and has been a blocker for many companies. So it just makes a lot of sense for us to put effort into this. If you are on Cloud Enterprise and are looking for data residency in the EU, feel free to reach us out. We're also looking to build capabilities to expand to other regions because we are working closely with Atlassian. We're also looking at their moves and with data residency and are very likely to mirror what they do.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thanks again for participating to this roundtable. Yes, for those who didn't know yet, Comulatech, EasyBI, and Tempo, now they know a little bit the people that are behind it. They have more information, and I encourage you to have a look on the marketplace, of course, where you can find the apps of our partners. So thank you very much.